Good morning, everyone. My name is Shivani Tyagi, your current affair teacher, and this is a beautiful morning to start with today's current affair. And make sure that you are starting today's day with this thought. Praise yourself that you came again, you started again, you did not give up. And this is what this UPSC journey, any government examination prepare journey, basically tells you, teaches you that you are never ever giving up. With this thought, we'll start our today's current affair. And before this, I want to tell you there is a thinker and he tells about power. Now, what did he say? So today's news connects us with one thinker, and his name is Thucydides. Now, what he says that strong power basically do what they can, and the weaker countries basically they suffer what they must, right? So this thinking, this ideology, this reality connects us to the today's world politics. Why? Because before, what was happening? We had like one, you know, country, right, who was basically developed, who was controlling the power, who had the power, right, and other countries were basically developing themselves, right? So that's exactly the easy politics we have, right? But now what's happening? We are showing our power. We are developing with nuclear energy. We are basically, enhancing our power. We are basically controlling each other with tariffs, right? So it's not only one power we are talking about. It's like multiple powers are there. Now imagine if we like each and every one from the society comes and then says that I'm superior, then what will happen? Conflicts will happen, and that's exactly what this news is telling to us, right? Now let's understand this one example. Imagine that there is a big school playground we have, right? And children are playing there. And earlier the school had this rule that you'll not fight, right? You'll share the choices, and basically one important thing, you'll respect everyone's opinion, right? So these rules that we are talking about school is just like international laws, right? And global institutions like UN is there, WTO is there, Paris Agreement is there, just like that, right? Like these small agreements that will come regarding environment, right? Regarding peace, regarding development, sustainable development, right? Recently we are going through this news also. So the teacher, the global institution ensure that everyone has to follow the rules. But now something very deep is changing. What is changing? Some strong and powerful children started saying that, why should we follow rules? We are strong, we will do whatever we want to. So now they are snatching toys, they don't listen to teachers, right? And they make their own rules. And that's what exactly is happening in today's world politics also. What we are going through. In this new world disorder, we are seeing changes. What we are seeing changes from rules to power politics. What are the changes we are having? We are having rules to power politics. We have WTO, we have UN, we have agreements, we have contracts, right? But then we have to show ourselves superior also, right? We are going to put increase and control each and every other country with tariffs, right? So this is where exactly we are leading towards this power politics, right? And this is what this news is about. That where and how we are going and how we can stop this, how we can have balanced approach, right? Now, what was the old system? What was happening? So after World War II, the world decided that okay, we need rule, we need cooperation, and we need some institution that can help us to avoid war, right? So global institutions were created. United Nations was there, World Trade Organization was there, International Monetary Fund was there, World Bank is there, right? So all of these were created, right? They had certain rules and no discriminatory. Each and everyone had like same rule and we had to follow. This was the simple ideology. This was the simple thinking, right? Now, what was the feature of these systems? Countries basically followed international rules. Trade is open, it is globalized. Now, but what is happening? What US did? We are reading that tariff policies are happening, disputes systems are happening, right? Climate change should be like handled through global agreements, but now opposite is happening. Like multinational cooperation was there. So this is known as what? This is known as liberal international order. What is it called? Liberal. Now imagine that if like each and every country is coming up and they are showing their power, what will happen? Disagreements, right? And whenever there are disagreements happening, what happens? Chaos, right? And if chaos is happening, what will it lead to? Violence. And if we are leading towards violence, what will it lead to? Destruction. If we know that after World War II we decided that we are going to have some balanced approach, then why we are not moving towards it? What are the issues we are facing, right? So now let's understand what's the shift that we are seeing nowadays. Now, first of all, shift in the world from rules to power, right? So what's happening? We realize that everyone, like every country, only uses power, right? So there is going to happen constantly. So this is why we created what we created rule-based global system, right? Now, what was the system? So every country basically agreed that we will follow international rules, right? We will basically follow international orders, right? All the WTO is there, agreements are there, right? All of these things will be followed, right? And after this, we'll solve disputes through talks and through institutions only. We'll agreement. We'll basically solve these disputes through agreements, right? We will promote free trade. We'll basically, move towards cooperation, towards, all these institutions which can, not leave the book, right? So this is why we created what? This is why we created UN. This is why we created World Trade Organization for Trade Rules. We created rule-based international orders also, right? Now, what exactly is this new system we have? What is the new system that we are coming up with? So today the world is like moving towards what? That might is right. Now, what is this might is right? What is this might is right? So when we talk about this might is right, after the Cold War ended in 1991, USA basically became the only superpower, right? Now, because of this, after this, what happened? Globalization increased, right? We saw many countries developing themselves, yeah, increasing themselves, right? Trade and population basically started expanding, right? But in recent year, when we are seeing, this development, what we are seeing, China is also becoming powerful, Russia is, becoming aggressive, USA started focusing on its own interest, right? Basically, if we look at Trump's ideology, what's his ideology? That he wants to make, America great again, right? So now power competition is, seen again, right? Now, let's understand that what are the evidences of this change? What are the scenarios? Why we are talking about it? What basically why we are saying that this development has been mixed? So first pointer that we have is big powers ignoring global rules, and there are like so many cases regarding this, right? Tariff, and especially from like we can talk about USA controlling so many things, right? Controlling each and every country, but then USA is not the only power we have. We have Russia also, we have China also. Doesn't matter what kind of politics USA is coming up with. We always and always have other powers who have nuclear powers also, right? So to this extent we are moving up, right? So earlier, what we had, countries like respected international rules, right? Some basically powerful countries were there, right? Now they are going to break arguments. They are going to, break global rules, so take unilateral actions also, right? So this is basically weakening the institution that we have created, like we have you, right? What's the, reason behind it? To have the stability, but we are going against it, right? So this is reason number one we have. After this climate cooperation weakening, just yesterday we have covered this, right? What basically India is doing and what other countries are doing. And if we talk about countries like USA, they did not even recognize that there is a concern like environmental, issue that's existing, in between us, and which is very, very important that we recognize it now, right? So this one major global agreement that we are talking about is Paris Agreement, right? What was the purpose? That all countries basically decided that okay, we'll fight against this climate issues, this climate change. But now what is happening? Some countries are not following commitments. Some focuses on more economic growth, right, than the environment. Right? Some even withdrew earlier. Who is that? Some USA withdrew. Right? Now USA being such vast country, such important country, who is developed country, is like withdrawing itself from such important agreement. So this does not show good message to the other countries. Right? Now after this, we have different things over here. Now the issue is arising between developed countries and developing countries. Developing countries are basically talking about that will basically only participate in, will basically aware other people. We'll move towards sustainable, but when it comes to resources, when it comes to finance, we will not participate in it. Why? Because developed countries are responsible for this climate change. They have like ruined this environment by developing themselves. We are moving toward that thing. So how come we are responsible for it? Right? So this kind of thinking is basically, moving when it comes to development, this environment, right? Okay. After this, what's the other thing that we have? The third thing is rise of aggressive geopolitics. Now, what is happening? So globalization meant what? Free trade is going to happen, open markets are going to be there, less tariff will be there, right? But now what countries are doing? Countries are basically protecting this domestic industries. They are imposing, tariffs, right? So these kinds of things are basically happening. They are using sanctions, and this is known as economic nationalism. right? After this, we have other pointer, weakening of global institutions. So these institutions that we have created are losing power. For example, WTO dispute settlement system is almost finalized, right? UN decisions are like blocked. Why? Because because of this veto politics, right? So what countries are doing? Countries are basically acting on their own. They are not listening to this basically authority that they have created for themselves, right? So this dispute is happening again and again, right? Basically, they are not listening. They are basically forming these small groups, like alliances. They are forming, right? So what is happening because of this? Because of this, the world is entering a phase of global disorder, right? This means what? This means less cooperation will be there, and more conflict will be passed on. And doesn't matter how much we are trying to balance it. In a long term, if we continue these pointers, what will happen? There is going to be another vote, right? So there will be like more uncertainty in communities, right? Now this is very important for India. Why it is important for India? Because India has to be very careful, right? When we talk about India's approach, we have to maintain strategy autonomy also. We have to build our relations from all the sides. We have to protect national interests also. We have to support rule-based orders, right? India believes in cooperation. We believes in sovereignty, and we believes in balance of power, right? And this is the India's approach that we are moving on. But then again, when it comes to these, all the powers that are like rising with nuclear powers, with tariff controls, by showing their superiority, by showing their powers, if will like, keep moving on with this thinking, with this ideology, then in the coming days, in coming years, we'll see conflicts, rising between these superpowers, because this is not, anymore about one power we are talking about. This is like multiple powers who are raising themselves, and conflict is going to be there. So for sure, chaos will be involved. I hope the news is understood. Okay, there is one question that you have to do. Please look at the question and write the answer. So the United Nations was established after World War II to promote international peace and security. So this statement is correct, right? Statement 2, the World Trade Organization responsible for regulating global monetary stability. This statement is incorrect. Now, the International Monetary Fund provides financial assistance to countries facing balance of payments crisis. This is also correct. So what's the correct option that we have? We have option number A, 1 and 3. Okay, good. Front and center on the front of package labeling issues. Okay, now let's understand this within a situation, what is happening and why we are talking about this. Imagine you go to a small shop and you pick up a packet of chips, okay? Or you are picking up any of your favorite food, your biscuit, right? On like front of the packet you see a big attractive design that it is very healthy, and it is going to boost your energy, and it is full of protein, high protein is there, right? But the truth about the product is something else. What is it? It is like full of sugar, salt and fat, right? It is hidden there, it is written, it is mentioned, but in tiny letters on the back it is written, right? So what happens? People are going to buy it, people are going to eat it, right? Without knowing that what it will cause to these people, right? Now think it like a government doctor. The government is basically worried because obesity is rising, diabetes is increasing. Just in few like classes, and just back of the classes, I basically explained to you that what's happening, right? So this diabetes is increasing, heart diseases are basically growing in very large number. So they are saying that why don't we tell people clearly that what they are eating is not safe, and what are the issues those things can create in their body, right? So the food is high in sugar, we should mention that. The food is in a high in salt, we should also write it, right? High in fat, let them know this, right? So this is known as front of package labeling, that is FOPL, right? Now let's understand that what's the scenario, what is exactly happening abhi recently kya hua hai, what Supreme Court said, right? Now this front of package labeling FOPL in India, what happened recently? The Supreme Court of India told Food Safety and Standards Authority of India, FSSAI की बात करेंगे हम लोग, तो उन्होंने बोला है, they said that put clear warning labels on the front of junk or food packets, let them know whatever they are eating, let them know, especially on food that have like too much sugar, they that have like too much salt and too much fat, because these foods are making Indians sick, right? Now let's understand first of all that what is FOPL, front of package labeling, right? So it is basically big clear warning on the front of the packet, so that person can understand in 2 seconds, right, that whatever food he is going to eat is healthy or not, right? For example, it should be like written in there that it is high sugar, it is high salt, it is high fat, right? Just like we see warning on cigarette packets, right? So this has been said that put the label on it, right? Now let's understand first of all history behind it, why we are basically reading it, right? And what exactly happened. So what was happening before? So earlier if we talk about food packets that showed nutrition information at the back, but that was written in small letters. If we even if you will pick any food item, you will see the warning is there, right? But in very tiny letter and also at the back of the packet, right? And it is very difficult to understand, common people will never read it, right? Even I can ask you, आज आपने अगर कुछ खाया होगा बाहर से, how much of you have read it? Not a single one, right? So people unknowingly ate healthy and they are basically doing it every single day. So this is why this is increasing our lifestyle disease, like diabetes is there, BP, heart problems, right? So because of this, many countries in the world started FOPL, right? And it's not that India is basically bringing up this issue, this is something new. No, other countries are already doing it, right? Like China, black warning labels are there. UK, basically traffic light system is there, right? Australia, health star rating is there, right? Now India is also trying to introduce this system, right? Now, and let's understand that why this FOPL need in India. So India is facing a huge health crisis according to India Council of Medical Research, ISMR NDAB study 2023. So because of this, what is happening? 101 millions of Indians have diabetes, such large number. After this, 136 millions are pre-diabetic. 35% people have high BP. 24% have high cholesterol, right? So main reason of this is these HFSS foods, right? That is high fat, sugar and salt. So example are like chips is there, even these biscuits that you think are filled with cream, even they are unhealthy, right? Why? Because they are filled with this sugar, right? So these instant noodles, so all the packages system that we can think of, they are very harmful for us, right? Because these are cheap and they are tasty, but again they are very harmful, right? Now let's understand that what is the main idea behind FOPL. So the idea is very simple, right? To know what you are eating so that consumers can make informed choices. Companies are forced to reduce unhealthy ingredients, right? So somewhere we can say that this is like not telling us that what you are eating is poison, right? Now what basically Supreme Court, what government is telling to us, that tell them that whatever they are eating, tell them, right? But there is an issue that is coming up, there is delay. Why there is delay? Because industry pressure is there, they are disagreeing on this format, right? On the star, on the color, on the warning sign, right? This is why Supreme Court basically jumps in, and Supreme Court is telling to us that you have to act on this matter very fast, right? Now if we understand about the policies, exactly what happened. So what is happening? So this FSSI, right? This was created under Food Safety and Standard Act that was created in 2006, right? It is going to regulate food safety, labeling rules, food standards, right? Now, after this, let's understand that what court said and what kind of changes they want, right? Now, let's understand timeline of FOPL. So in 2014, FSSAI Experts Committee recommended this FOPL. In 2019, draft was labeled, right? Rules was issued. 2020, packaging and labeling regulation amended. 2025, Supreme Court pushes again for implementation, which we are talking about now. ठीक है? जो changes की हम लोग अभी बात कर रहे हैं, right? Now when we talk about this table, ठीक है? This portion, this is still not implementing. Obviously, this is why we are talking. Why? Because industries are talking. They are saying that if we label it, right, तो सबको पता चल जाएगा and we are going to face issues. हमारा जो हमारी demand होगी that will drop. ठीक है? तो इसी वजह से यहाँ पर सुप्रीम कोर्ट बेसिकली कम्स इन एंड दे से दैट दिस इज समथिंग कम्स इन आर्टिकल 21. हम लोग यहाँ पे राइट टू हेल्थ की बात कर रहे हैं और अगर हम राइट टू हेल्थ की बात कर रहे हैं तो वी हैव टू एक्ट वेरी फास्ट इन दिस. ठीक है? आई होप दिस इज अंडरस्टूड. नाउ after this, let's understand the types of labeling countries we have, what other countries are doing. Right now, what did the court say? Court says basically saying that there is strong evidence, like liking these junk food to diseases, right? So people must be like warned early, right? So this is something bad we are doing to them. So being government, being authority, this is our responsibility, right? That we should finally jump in and we should take action against it, right? Now after this, let's understand that what other countries are doing. So this is not the concept that something new that only India is bringing up. No, basically it is recognized in other countries also, right? After this, there are types of labeling systems. First is star rating, other is color coding, and third is warning labels, right? So star rating means we are going to give health score, right? This cannot be much efficient. This is why we are not using it. Why? Because imagine that from 5 I am giving 3 stars. Now we do not know if this 3 can be like if it is good or not, right? So there are other reasons that we are not understanding. Basically this is very confusing, so this is why effectiveness is not there. After this, color coding, the same goes with this is moderate. But when we talk about warning labels, this is a clear sign we are talking about, right? This is not safe. This we are telling by labeling it, right? Like on the packet of basically that cigarette, we know that it's not safe, right? So this is why this warning label is considered to be best in this case, right? Now I hope this is understood. After this, what exactly is happening? What is the debate about? So there are two sides we are fighting about. First is public health side, that we have to tell them that what they are eating is not safe, right? We have to save people from disease. We have to give clear warnings and reduce this junk food use also, right? And there is another side, that is food industry side. So what is the first side we have? We have health side, where we have citizens, and the other side that we have is food industry side. Now what this food industry side is talking about, so basically they are telling to us that we have like fear of reducing profit, right? They are saying that education is enough, right? They are basically opposing this act. Why? They are saying that we are going to label it, but not in such huge manner, right? Why? Because demand is going to be reduced if people will know that what they are eating is not safe, right? So what this news is telling to us, that awareness campaign alone are not enough, right? Government should take strong legal action for this, because without warning labels, what will happen? People will like unknowingly consume harmful food, right? So now what India should do, India should basically make these warning labels compulsory. Let each and every food industry know that whatever they are going to produce, they have to label it, right? In very large manner, they have to tell in these warning labels, that they have to tell that this contain high sugar, this contain high salt, and this is injurious to health. They have to mention this, right? And after this, they have to use pictorial warnings also for those illiterate population, right? So impose food junk on taxes also, right? So these are the measures that government can take to reduce these kinds of acts, these kinds of things to come in India. I hope this news is understood to you. Now, okay, so we have one question. Again, you'll get few seconds to write answers, and then we'll move to the another news. Okay. With reference to food regulation in India, consider the following statement. The Food Safety and Standard Authority of India was established under the Food Safety and Standard Act 2006. Bilkul, just now I told you about this. Front of package labeling aims to provide simplified nutritional information on packaged food. Is this correct? Yes, ma'am, this is also correct. The primary objective of FPL is to increase export competitiveness of Indian food products. No, this has nothing to do with that. So correct option that we have is 1 and 2. Is this understood? Bache, it's been told by government. So basically, the news told us that those illiterate population, we can use pictorial, advertisement. We can use pictorial things on the packaging. India's aviation is in need of data-driven oversight. Okay, another important news that we have. Okay. So imagine bus city in the sky every day, thousands of flights like take off, right? And they land safely in India, right? This is the scenario that I'm talking like of right now. So pilots are there, engineers, and basically air traffic controllers. They all work together, right? Like a team, they work. But one day, what happens? People start asking questions that are we checking these, safety properly? Are we learning from past mistakes, right? So recently, we have like seen the news also about Indigo. So keeping this situation in mind, we'll understand this news, right? Recently, what happened in India, this basically reflects this news properly, right? So this is the example we'll take in our mind. Now, these kinds of questions are coming in our mind, that do we use data to prevent accidents right before they are happening, right? This is where this news comes in, right? So what this news is telling to us, that India's aviation system, right, is growing very fast, right? But safety oversight is still old style and it is reactive, right? Just few weeks back, I covered the same news for you, right? If you remember when the Indigo incident happened, right? So instead, what is suggested over here, that we need data-driven oversight. This means what? That we have to use real-time data, right, to manage this situation, to manage these kinds of problems that we have like recently faced, like Indigo, right? So this means what? This means, ma'am, that we have to, think of it like, old system. We are going to doctor only after getting sick. But what is the new system we have? The new system is using smartwatch data to stay healthy, right? So we have to predict, not predict, we have to understand, we have to analyze by checking each and every step, that if everything is stable or not. If not they are stable, that we can, take measures for that, right? And then we can predict that if some harmful or basically some situation was about to come or not, right? So this is exactly what have been basically told to us, right? Now, if we talk about this India's aviation sector and data driven safety, so what is exactly we are talking about? So India's aviation sector is growing very fast, right? We know about this. There are more airports, there are more airlines, we have like, more flights, right? So more passengers are there. But when the growth comes, right, then comes more responsibility. And not only responsibility, this responsibility we are talking about is safety, right? So this is why we have to basically take measures more clearly and more properly, right? Now what this news is telling to us, that India is still using old style safety monitoring, right? Instead we need some modern based safety system, right? Why this matters to us? Because India has like seen past aviation incidents happening just now, right? The issue linked is totally and totally to Air India and basically other operators also. So basically this news is telling to us that we are basically moving towards human error, we are moving towards poor monitoring, and we are also seeing lack of warning signs, right? This is leading to what? This is leading to accidents, and we have to basically, come out of this zone by measuring them early stage, right? Now let's understand that what is data driven oversight, why we are using this word again and again. So what exactly is this? It means that we have to use technology, and we have to, basically use data to stop accident before they happen, right? So what was earlier system? We used to act after accident happened, right? So we were working with after, right? We were taking measures after. But now in this news, It is saying that we should work before only. How we are going to work before? We have to predict risk before accident happens. This is known as predictive safety zone. I hope the news is understood that what's the basic we are talking about. Now let's understand that how will it work? How does it actually work? This data driven that we are talking about, how will it work? So first of all, we have to basically collect the data, right? So we'll collect the data, we'll understand basically, how we can, from flights we have to do like engine performances, we have to understand about the weather also, we have to understand about the pilot behavior also, and not only that, number of pilots that are available, number of staff that are available, right? So this was a situation that we recently faced also, right? So that kind of things first of all have to understand, right? पहली सबसे चीज क्या होगी? Collect flight data. This is the first thing that we have. I hope this is understood. After this, we have to analyze the pattern. Analyze the pattern, what is it? We have to use computers to find it, right? After this, find all the problems, right? We have to understand the warning signals, right? If we have data, if we know the pattern, if there is any warning signals that are basically coming in this pattern, then we have to analyze it, we have to understand it. If we are facing repeated technical faults, if pilot fatigue is there, if bad weather is there, then risk is there. So understand the pattern, right? So this is the third step we have, right? These warning signals we have, right? After this, what is the fourth thing? The fourth thing is basically, alert airlines, authorities early. Airlines and authorities should be aware of this, right? So this is data driven that we are talking about, right? Now let's understand what is the problem in India. What exactly we are facing? So when we talk about India, so this basically practice is, identified, and this is managed by Directorate General of Civil Aviation, DGCA we are talking about, right? This safety is handled by them, right? But currently there are so many problems, right? What is the problem? The recent example that we have like seen, lack of staff is there, old systems are used there, safety oversight issues are there, right? So these are the problems that we are facing again, right? We have like weak predictive system, shortage of trained safety experts, right? India's system is reactive, right? But that is reactive only and only after problem. When situation arises, only then we react. But what this news is telling to us, that we have to take predictive measures, early measures we have to work on, right? So this is the problem that, with this authority we are facing, with this DGCA we are facing, right? Now after this, let's understand that why is aviation safety very important now, why we are talking about this. Suddenly we want assurance, we want this, safety things. Why do we want it? Because India's aviation sector is growing very fast, passenger number is increasing, right? And mostly manual, right? Manual inspection is not done. Because of this we can face lots and lots of problems, right? So this is why it is considered that, these aviation systems should be, seen, they should be heard, they should be measured properly, right? New airports are basically, built, airlines is expanding its routes. India will be in, top 3 aviation market in the world. But we have to remember one thing, if we have more flights, then we will have more risk. Why? Because we follow after measures, we are not following on these early predictions. This is why we are going to face more and more risk, right? And this is not something that has been written in news also. We have seen, practical example regarding this, right? Now what is the solution that is given to us? What is the solution? So basically in this news we are, given 5 important measures. So first one is build data driven. Just now I explained you what is data driven, right? So India should like create real time monitoring system. We have to predict basically risk analysis also. We have to move with digital safety dashboards also. So risks are going to be detected, what? They are going to be detected early. Measures could be taken early, right? So this is the first step we have. After this, strengthen DGCA. As I've just told you that what we are facing, we are facing staff shortage, we are facing, some, problems related to the training also. We have to use AI tools also, right? So these kinds of things should be mentioned, right, with the DGCA, right? So regulator becomes, strong, and it should become modern as well. After this, what is the third thing that we have? Third thing is mandatory safety reporting system, right? Now, what is this? All airlines must report near miss incident, right? Technical faults should be there. Pilot fatigue should be basically understood. This equipment failure should be understood, right? So this helps in finding pattern of danger. If you are basically seeing any pattern, so that it could be analyzed before only, and it can be like measured, right, early stage only, right? So that it could prevent, more issue, right, that can, it can generate like in future, right? After this, build safety culture in airlines, right? There, after like understanding what is the pattern, we have to basically work towards what, airlines have to understand this, that like they have to encourage reporting of mistakes, right? Those should not be, punished. If we are talking about whistleblowers, we do not have to punish them, right? We have to focus on learning from errors, right? This is known as just culture. So we should enhance what? We should enhance honesty and safety, right? After this, what is the fifth thing that we have? Follow global standards. Very important. So ISAO, Global Safety Adult Standards, right? So India matches international safety aviations also, right? So when we talk about this government angle, our government angle, what do we have? So this issue is like classic example of growth versus regulation, right? For sure, India wants to grow its aviation system, and we are actually moving towards it, right? But then again, we have to focus on safety measures also, right? I hope this is understood. Okay. So this is it for today. There is one homework that we have. This is the homework. You can write the answer in the chat box, and we'll end our today's class, and I'll see you tomorrow at same timing, 8:10 a.m. Thank you so much. And for the PDF will be attached in the comment section very soon.